Good morning, viewer. Welcome to our first TV USA. Here's the breaking news. There is literally no paper trail. How Russia experts say Putin hides a fortune. The sprawling billion-dollar palace that sits on a hilltop overlooking the Black Sea is seen by some Kremlin critics as the ultimate emblem of Russian President Vladimir Putin's legacy of corruption. Dubbed Putin's Palace, the 190,000 square foot mega mansion was purportedly built for his personal use with funds from billionaire oligarchs whom he allegedly allowed to flourish in Russia's notoriously corrupt economy so long as they shared the wealth with him. The property has its own amphitheater, underground hockey rink, and private seaport, according to a documentary produced by jailed Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny's anti-corruption group. There is a no-fly zone in the skies above and a no-boating zone in the surrounding waters. The magnificent fortress stands in stark contrast to the tiny 800 square foot apartment Putin's claim in his official 2020 financial disclosure. Yet, despite the opulence of the hilltop retreat, I would be very surprised if Putin ever sets foot in there again. Nate Savli, an expert on Russian corruption who advises member of Congress, told reporter. Simply said, the palace symbolizes what he sees as a bygone era of Putin pursuing through the wealth of oligarchs, a luxurious lifestyle that he could never afford on his government salary. While Putin is believed to have amassed a hidden fortune by such means earlier in his career. Simply said, he has since become less reliant on his wealthy benefactors over the years and has surrounded himself instead with government and military loyalists who share his hardline nationalist views. That shift, some Russia experts told to the reporter, may make it more difficult to make Putin personally feel the sting of economic sanction the US and its European allies have imposed to punish him for invading Ukraine. Putin has positioned himself, as simply put it, above the fray. It was not always that way. Nearly 2 decades before Putin ruined international euro for his most recent unprovoked invasion of Ukraine, the Kremlin had Russia's richest man plucked off his private jet and charged him with crimes against the state. Mikhail Khodorkovsky oligarch's worth an estimated $15 billion at the time, sat cast in the middle of the courtroom during his highly publicized trial. Khodorkovsky, who had been critical of government corruption under Putin's leadership, was convicted of tax evasion and fraud. Though he argued the charges were politically motivated, Putin pardoned him in 2013 and he has since lived in exile. Putin's bold move against the billionaire oil magnate was seen as a message to other oligarchs. You might be next. The tactic demanded the unwavering loyalty of the oligarch class. The ensuing influx of cash, gifts, and goodwill is one explanation for how Putin, who claimed a salary of just $140,000 per year, is suspected of being one of the richest people of the planet. He is rumored to own or have access to not only the Black Sea Palace but also $100 million acre, according to published reports by the journalist was unable to verify Putin's connection to the palace or acre. The Kremlin has dismissed reports of Putin's purported hidden wealth. That the properties and other possessions are not in his name does not matter, said Tom Burgess, author of book on international money laundering called kleptopia. Bargis linked Putin to the Godfather and said it is understood that when he asked an oligarch for something, it is not really a request. Ultimately, they owe everything they have to the boss, and with the click of a finger, as he has shown in the past, Putin can take everything. Bargis said, however influential they may seem, they are ultimately dependent on him. Several of Putin's closest associates, including childhood friends, a woman who was reportedly his former lover, and a professional cellist who is the godfather of one of his daughters, have secretly amassed huge fortunes outside Russia during his time in power, according to leaked financial documents. A complicated web of shell companies, offshore banks, and hidden transactions obscures their wealth, which accounts splitted away inside one another like Russian nesting dolls. But a series of leaks in recent years from firms that facilitate the offshore finance system, including the Panama Papers and the Pandora Papers, have stripped away some of those layers of secrecy. The asset tied to Putin's inner circle, including an apartment in a Monaco luxury building overlooking the Principality Glitz Harbor. The fourth floor flat was purchased in 2003 for 4.1 million by a shell corporation called Brook Valley Development Limited, a company registered in the British Virgin Islands. Document published by the Washington Post show the real owner of the company, Seventana Kirvanogor, the former soft cleaner from St. Petersburg, who reportedly had a romantic relationship with Putin decades ago. According to documents obtained by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists and reported on by the Post, The Guardian, the company was registered just weeks after Kriver Gorik, who was 28 at this time, gave birth to a girl. Proket, an independent Russian media outlet that was banned in the country last year, reported that Putin started a relationship with Kriver in the 1990s before he became president, and that her daughter has a patronymic middle name that means daughter of Vladimir. Kriver has declined to comment about Putin's to reporters, but her daughters, who had tens of thousands of Instagram followers before recently deleting her account, has acknowledged to interviewers that she shares a resemblance to the president. In addition to the Monaco apartment, Krivorog owns a majority share in a ski resort where Putin has been seen hitting the stops and slopes. Several other luxury apartments in St. Petersburg and a cheat, the Post and the Guardian reported. The leaked document don't make clear the source of the fortunes amassed by Putin's inner circle, but in several cases, businesses and financial institutions linked to them have won lucrative state contracts. Russia has the largest amount of wealth hidden in offshore tax havens, both in terms of absolute volume. Conservative estimates peg it around 800 billion in 2017 and as a percentage of national GDP, according to a 2020 report by the Atlantic Council. On average, 10% of the world GDP is held offshore. However, in Russia, offshore wealth accounted for such and much as 60% of GDP in 2015, according to a 2018 Journal of Public Economics research paper, the most recent estimate available. Experts say about a quarter of this dark money is indirectly controlled by Putin and his tight kin circle of oligarchs and poses a serious national security threat to the United States. The Mueller report illustrated how Russian offshore accounts were used to interfere in 2016 election. Earlier this month, the Justice Department announced the formation of a task force devoted to enforcing sanctions and other economic restrictions designed to isolate Russia from global market. The klepto capture task force will target not only Russian officials and oligarchs but those who aid or conceal their unlawful conduct. BN Das report for Active USA.